He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
We're back.
We're back.
Angry Mortgage is on the air. It's like getting to be the end of November. All you people who ask for dates, fuck yourselves. Okay, that's it. You're not getting any
They want
dates.
timestamps too.
They want all that shit. They want everything. Okay, so we're not doing it. You can keep asking for it. I'll just keep not doing it. But it's getting to be the. Oh, there was like a snowflakes today in the morning, right?
There was
in Toronto.
yeah.
There was snowflakes came down. Oh,
Yay!
yay! Old men who are 66 hate fucking snow. We hate it. Okay, we just hate snow. Because you know what? Like fat bastards like me don't ski, right? Like I don't do anything like that. Okay, like it's I just don't do it. So
Fair.
I don't want snow. It's okay.
And you're not cleaning up your driveway either.
No, there is a man who comes and does the driveway. It's true. But still, I don't just, that's all.
It's tough. Yeah.
Well, it sucks if you're me, okay? Like, it doesn't suck for young people. I mean, come on. It's kind of fun, right? You do fun stuff.
Yeah, like we do winter sports, but not like every single weekend where I'm like, yay, this is great. You know, I still have to travel here on a daily with my small car.
And fight through the traffic.
and fight through the snow.
Yes, because for some reason, even though in a country where it snows in the winter, the drivers in Toronto have no fucking clue.
They have no idea. It's like every year people just forget how to drive as soon as it snows. And my 30-minute commute becomes like an hour.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, no, you're absolutely, it's crazy. So, all right. So there's a lot to cover this week because a lot of shit happened this week in mortgage world. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on one of my favorite topics, the minister, we're going to talk a lot about Krista Freeland today. Krista Freeland is the finance minister, deputy prime minister. She takes a lot of flack. I'll be honest with you, I am not a fan, but I think, I'll be straight up. I think people pick on her.
Right.
Okay? I think some of the stuff's unfair. I kind of I'm starting to suspect she has some sort of condition because Krista Freeland never stops moving. Like if you pause and watch her at a news conference, she is in motion when she's standing still. Like she's like
fidgety or just like
so
everything
fidgety.
Yeah.
So fidgety. Okay. And I think probably that's something. I don't think she's. And here's what I feel about all that stuff. If it's an actual condition, I think absolutely none of us have the right to make fun of it.
Of course.
Like, if people will call me a fat bastard online, I don't mind because I understand who I am, okay? And I don't care, and I've had a long time to get used to it. But, like, it's what I always, it's like one of my favorite insults, when the people come up to me and say, we don't agree with you, you fat bastard. I always say the same thing. I said, well, I could lose weight. You will always be an asshole.
Oh, dry.
So
you're not wrong there.
So this is a voluntary thing that I have, but but what I'm saying is we should never beat people up about
of
stuff
course
that's that's not in their control.
Maybe it helps her concentrate. Like I'm pretty fidgety too, and I feel like
hold it.
I'm the person that tap my
let me
foot
tell you
and stuff.
something. Let me tell you something. Compared with Krista Freeland, you are a statue.
Oh, okay.
Like honestly, it's sometimes it's hard to watch. Okay, but definitely. And now I know what people say online. You bastard, you should never brought it up. If you don't want to talk about it, don't bring it up. Okay, well, fuck you too. The reality is that
it's the truth.
I'm telling the truth that you can't not observe it. It's just so obvious. Okay.
Right.
And it has gotten much more pronounced
right.
since she's been in government. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just going to say this. I've mentioned it because I've mentioned it for a real reason. We shouldn't discuss it. It's not a thing to discuss. Okay. I get it. Then don't bring it up. But by the same token, I see 100 comments online about it.
That's so shitty. People are so shitty sometimes.
Like it's not, but nothing's ever been announced. Okay, like there's never been an announcement.
Right.
Okay? And nobody needs to give an announcement. There's no necessity to do it.
That's her business.
That's her business.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's just endless online. You know, and apart from all the other shitty things like
that people say and stuff. Yeah.
People say a lot of shitty things about politicians. I mean, the thing that just sort of pisses me off is the Trudeau's Castro's kid. Okay, like, which I know you don't know Castro, but you don't know Castro, right? No, that was the dictator of Cuba.
I know Castro.
Okay. You do know Castro.
Yeah.
Okay. But by the way, I don't blame you. He's been dead for nearly 10 years now, so I don't blame you for not knowing him. It's fine, okay? But I don't blame anybody for not knowing dead people, okay?
Yeah, Fidel Castro.
Fidel
right?
Castro, yeah.
So you have to say it with a Spanish accent for me to know.
Fidel Castro, okay? By the way, the thing about Fidel Castro is, even though he was kind of a murderous bastard, okay, like he killed people like very routinely, he had people killed in his island, he was smart as a whip.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, he was a smart guy. He was so smart. He had this weird habit of putting on speeches that went on for 4 hours, like 4 fucking hours of him nonstop talking, no notes. Okay.
Wow.
It was wild. Yeah, but he's smart as a whip. So the story always was, people always to insult the prime minister, people always say they call him Justin Castro. Okay, so to insult him. So all that stuff, again, people online are going to say, well, if you don't want to insult him, don't bring it up. But like, I'm going to bring it up because I've seen the comment 10,000 times. So all the really nasty comments about these politicians is very unnecessary, and it's not right, and we shouldn't do it.
They're still people at the end of the day. They're still human.
They picked their job. They did pick their job, so they got to take some heat. Okay?
Of course, yeah.
But they don't have to take that kind of heat, that kind of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You can be very passionate and disagree with their policies. Go hard on the policies. Go hard, okay? But the personal stuff, it's stupid.
Yeah.
That's one man's opinion. Anyway, that we're going to talk a lot about what happened in government this week because a lot of things happened. We're going to start out with my favorite beat 'em up subject, Airbnb.
Airbnb. Oh my God. Airbnb, isn't that just like basically Uber for homes? Why are people so mad?
By the way, that is a very smart comment, and it is one which constantly comes up online. Oh, I guess whenever I talk about being pissed off at Airbnb, everybody says, I guess you don't take Uber either. You don't use Uber. Okay. Like, yes, because I use Uber like fucking constantly. Okay.
Yeah.
But because I hate driving. Right. And I particularly hate driving in downtown Toronto.
Oh, it's the fucking worst.
Which everybody who lives in Toronto understands perfectly.
Yes.
Like everybody understands. Fuck. Yeah. Like if I was rich like Ron, and I am so not rich. Okay. But I am telling you, if I had money like Ron, I would do the same. I'd take Airbnb because fucking Toronto is the shit on traffic. Okay.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
So bad. It's the worst.
Yeah.
So yes. So I take Airbnb a lot. So obviously I like Airbnb. I'm good with Airbnb. And people do make that comment, just like you did, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an app. Like, why are you mad at it? This is why I'm mad at it. Because ultimately, even though what Airbnb did to taxis, because initially they just destroyed taxis.
You mean Uber?
Sorry, Uber. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
He meant Uber.
Airbnb is not in the taxi business.
He's not taking Airbnbs. He's taking Ubers.
Let's start on the Uber subject.
Yes.
Okay. On the subject of Uber,
Yeah.
everybody was pissed off because it destroyed taxi business, right?
Right. Yeah.
But the taxis are still here.
Okay. And I've had a lot of Ubers who are taxi drivers.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I've had a lot of airport limousine drivers who are also Uber and Lyft. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was they just adapted. But here's where the difference lies. So Uber, as a ride app, it did effectively take the place of taxis.
Yeah.
But the point is, the taxi was kind of a ripoff. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's where the real ripoff was that nobody knows about. If you wanted to drive an official taxi in Toronto, you had to get something called a medallion to be able to operate a taxi. And people would sell the medallions near the end for $300,000. Yeah, the right to drive a taxi was $300,000. I knew guys who were just medallion millionaires. Guys who just had 12 medallions and they didn't fucking work. They just rolled the medallions once in a while. And it was a fucking racket.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Fuck, it was a fucking racket.
Wow.
Which died overnight. You know, and a lot of them went crazy. There was a lot of guys out in the streets protesting, saying, "My medallion used to be worth $300,000. Now it's worth nothing." To which everybody replied, "Who gives a fuck?"
Basically,
okay, like we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So here's where I say that Airbnb is different than Uber. Uber was just a more efficient way of doing a thing, and everybody says, "Well, that's what Airbnb is." Airbnb is just a more efficient way of being a hotel, right? That's fair, right?
It is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my problem is this. If you want to use Airbnb for the purpose it was meant for, which is out of your own house, you want to rent your basement out, you want to rent your rooms out, you want to rent your laneway house out, all good. I got no trouble with that.
Yeah.
If you want to rent your cottage out on the weekends that you're not using it,
Yeah.
all good. No worries. If you want to do, you got a ski chalet. So one of those condos where you just ski up to the condo, right?
Yeah,
Up in Blue Mountain or stuff.
Yeah.
No trouble. Go ahead. Like a Whistler, everybody Whistler. If you want to be Airbnb, if you want to be Airbnb and you want to treat it like a hotel, who cares? It's a resort.
Yeah.
Okay. It is what it is. It's meant to be that.
It's not a dense city.
It's not a dense city.
Yeah.
It's not a place where you are taking away a unit that people could live in.
Yeah.
Full time. Okay?
No, yeah, I agree.
So here's my bitch. My sole bitch with these guys is this. Why Airbnb is shit. My position is it's an illegal hotel room. And that's not what it's meant to be, but it's what people turned it into. It actually created this requirement. Like who else would buy a 410-foot condos, right? Would anybody buy a 410 square foot condo?
No.
But it's perfect for Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Fucking perfect. Okay.
Of course.
So it actually led to the development of a shitty product as more and more people used it. I believe this, that if we got rid of every Airbnb in all of southwestern Ontario, or all of Vancouver Island, and all of the whole Greater Vancouver area, we'd probably throw up like about 180,000 units for people to live in full time, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there is a thing called zoning. I'll get to that later, but that was always my bitch with it. My bitch with it is you're operating a hotel because you are, and it wasn't zoned for a hotel.
Yeah.
Like that place was zoned for single family use or for condominium
residential use.
Residential use. Here's what, anyway, I'll come back to Airbnb, but they got it. Airbnb got it. The government came out and said anywhere that restricts Airbnb, the federal government, Finance Minister, Krista Freeland, she's okay. I don't agree with her, but she's not a bad person. Okay.
Yeah.
So she came out with this thing. Okay. If you have a Airbnb in one of the places where it's now against the rules to have an Airbnb, which is like all of British Columbia. This is recent, but it's all of British Columbia.
Yeah.
It's basically most of Toronto, unless you have certain licenses, which is hard to get. It's again, so there's and Quebec is against it. Like Montreal put in very harsh laws against Airbnb to the point where they actually hired people to go out and hunt down fake Airbnb. If you didn't have your license or you weren't running it properly, they would hunt you down. They hired a crew to hunt people down. Okay.
Wow. They were serious.
Well, they were serious because they had that big fire. They had a big fire in a building that was being used as an illegal Airbnb. And it took them, it turns out it looks like it wasn't the code. And people died.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to be operating a units where every bedroom was a separate person, separate entity, and you weren't living there at all. You was just you sort of an illegal / boarding house / hotel room / whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And people died. So they got pissed off at it and go back.
Of course.
So in all those places where it's illegal to operate an Airbnb, then CRA is going to come and fuck you. The tax man's going to come and get you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to deduct the mortgage interest. You won't be able to deduct the condo fees. You won't be able to deduct the property tax. You won't be able to deduct anything.
And you can't like claim the income either, right?
No, you have to claim the income.
No. I meant like, for example, for like a mortgage.
Well, here, let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
You got the income from renting it out as Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Renting it out as a sort of illegal hotel. You get, let's say you got 20 grand of income, for example, okay? And you got expenses. You got condo fees, you got property tax, you got mortgage interest, right? You got all that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
You can't deduct it to offset the income anymore. If you're in one of those areas that is restricted. So that means the way your accountant used to do your taxes would be that if you had 20 grand of income, you had 16 grand worth of expenses, then you only had to pay tax on the 4 grand.
Right.
But now you're paying full tax on the 20 grand.
Ooh, okay.
This is there's a technical term for this in accounting. This is known technically as you're fucked. Okay, that's what it is, because you're fucked. And that is such bad news. So apparently already there's like tons of Airbnbs being offered for sale on condos in Victoria, Vancouver, and it might just spread across the country. Because if, say, somebody like the Ford government here in Ontario decided to say, well, we're going to do the same as BC, well, holy shit, like that's massive.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm happy about that. Again, people can argue about the finance minister. I'm happy, but that's one thing that I support. I've always supported. I testified before the parliamentary committee. I thought it was a good idea.
And then shortly after this
Which
happened.
had nothing to do with me.
Sure.
Fucking nothing. This was all in the works. It's also good politics.
Yeah.
It's because there is a great housing crisis in our country.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a shit about Airbnb operators. Who cares? So it's good politics, right? And you know what? No matter what anybody says, if it's pursued properly, it will release just in Ontario. Just Ontario. It could release as many as 100,000 units. Now people say, well, that's not a lot. But here's the interesting part. All at once, in the next 12 months,
of course,
100,000 units that already existed. You didn't have to wait to build them.
Yeah.
Okay. And that would also mean prices would come down.
Of course, supply goes up, demand comes down.
But it's a very particular kind of supply, right? It's a small condo. Mostly a small condo.
I feel like people at this point are just kind of desperate to get their hands on any type of real estate.
I think you're right.
So
do people rent out houses, full houses in Airbnb? I guess they do, right?
Yeah.
Because William and Natalie had that wild experience where the Airbnb next door, a house was rented out. And the drunken person showed up in their house because it got mixed up, right?
Actually, I got in trouble with Airbnb once.
What? What happened?
I was
tell the story.
God. I was young. I just want to point that out. I was like 20 years old. I got an Airbnb. It was a full house. And
full house, wow.
Yeah, it was a full 3-bedroom home in the East End, and I threw a party, but we cleaned up
Wait a second,
spotless.
You had a party house.
I had a party. I had two
for
parties.
A weekend party.
I had 2 parties in the 2-3 days that I was there.
Woohoo!
I was 20. I was young. I was like, oh, yay, someone's home to party in.
Oh boy.
We cleaned up. We left it spotless, but all the garbage he caught on.
All the empties, all 1,000 empty beer bottles.
All the garbage. And then apparently a neighbor snitched. And then he was like, oh.
Because there was 30 cars in the park. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, it wasn't meant for a house party. And I was like, well, I'm 20 years old and you gave me full liberty of your home. There's not a camera in sight. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, asshole. What did you think was going to happen? Well, we're going to have yoga classes or something? Or
a study group, a prayer group?
Yeah, prayer group. Yeah, it wasn't going to be a prayer group, for fuck's sake.
That's kind of on you, because if you're renting it out and you're not putting an age limit.
And you don't care, you pay attention, right?
You're getting paid.
Yeah.
You clearly didn't care.
And you didn't care.
So,
it's going to be a party, baby.
Yeah. So now I think they've changed things. Recently when I book Airbnbs, they're like, oh, we need proof you're over 25. I'm like, okay, someone's learned their lesson, but.
Okay, look.
Yeah.
It's a funny story, actually. But here's the thing. It actually proves my point. Okay. If you're the neighbors of your party house.
Oh my God, must have hated us.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because guess what? The zoning wasn't for frat house, right? Or sorority house, right?
No,
that was not the zoning in the area. No. As a matter of fact, those places exist, right? We even have them in Toronto.
Yeah,
we have sororities, we have fraternities. For all you people who never went to university, that is some wacky fucking club, because I sure as fuck was never in one.
Yeah, just living on res.
Yeah, but it was a party, baby.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sound like Rick Sanchez on Rick and Morty. Party, baby! Yeah, exactly. So, I don't do a great Rick Sanchez impression, but yes, Airbnb is getting kicked in the nuts, and Ron is pleased about that. So sometimes the government does some good. I'll come back to Airbnb in a minute, because some of the stuff comes on when you criticize Airbnb online, you get some weird responses. I'll get to that later. What else happened this week? Well, back to Krista Freeland. Again, for everybody out there who wants to raise hell with her, no, she's a smart person. She may have bad policy. She may make political errors, but she's not an evildoer. Yes, she owns rental properties. Yes. So, but we're not going to be mad. There's no need to insult these people. Okay. Maybe the one guy we could insult who's well, as you know, I might insult the Bank of Canada. But I might insult Tiff. But the only guy to insult is the son of a bitch MP who got elected, who was a professional house flipper.
Yeah.
His job was to flip houses to like take advantage of the real estate market. That was his job. He got elected as MP, Liberal MP out of Vancouver, I think. Yeah, fuck that guy. Okay, you're allowed to get mad at that guy. That's fine. You can make fun of him. But most of the other people, no, I don't want to make fun of. We can say the policy is crap. Yes, everybody out there in social media world, policy is shit. The people are not shit. Okay, that's the wrong approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what was other big thing that came out? Christopher Freeland announced the Canadian Mortgage Charter. Ta-da! Okay.
Same shit, different smile.
Yeah. Tell you what. The problem with that stuff, it was all. I said on BNN, it was like environmentally friendly because it was 100% recycled. Okay. Like there was not one new fucking thing in this Canadian Mortgage Charter. It was just political theater at its best. So yes, Christopher Freeland, I will criticize you based on bullshit political theater. This was all of it. You know, they tried it. They say, guess what? Look at this new thing. If you have a problem paying your mortgage, we have extended amortizations. Duh. Like, we've had it for like 20 months now. Okay. So just quickly, if your amortization is like 20 years, you're down to 20 years, your renewal comes up, have your payments way up because the interest rate's doubled. If you, on renewal, you can say to the bank, hey, I'm at 20. I started at 30 10 years ago. Can I go back to 30? Bank will say yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not stuck there. You can always go back.
Because it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, it's not the greatest idea because
it does suck. Yeah.
Because if you're 40, you're going to have a mortgage till you're 70, which ain't good, but maybe somehow you can catch it up when the rates finally go down.
Yeah.
If they go down, they probably will. So the other thing is she came up with, which was again, completely old news, is that they would allow the switching of mortgages at renewal if you had originally had a CMHC approved mortgage, like backed by CMHC, like you only put 10% down, 5% down, and you never refinanced. So you never increased the mortgage. So you started with 5% down or 10% down and you paid for 5 years or 10 years and now you got a renewal. Those people do not have to be subject to the stress test, the 2% stress test.
Okay.
Which actually turns out was always that way, except lenders weren't paying attention and they weren't bothering. And they figured that out about 6 weeks ago. That was figured out. Everybody agreed. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. We missed that. So we know. So that was she just announced something that had been going on for like 6 or 8 weeks. Okay. And which, by the way, was always the policy. It was just not understood properly. Okay, that's the wild part.
She had to iron it out.
I don't think so. I just think she just repackaged it. Okay, and she said that if you're in terrible distress and you have to sell your house, you might get your penalty reduced. You might escape from your penalty. Well, that one was just bullshit. Okay, because nobody's getting their penalty waived. Okay. If you have proceeds, like if you decide that you can't make your mortgage payment, you sell your house and you've got, at the end of the sale, you got $300,000 cash coming to you. Nobody's waiving a fucking penalty.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're paying up.
You're paying the full fucking penalty if you break your mortgage.
Yeah.
Pay me, baby. Okay. Like that's it. You're going to pay. Now, if you're in trouble and you can't, and maybe because it's really tight and the house value's fallen maybe, and the penalty makes it harder for you to close the transaction. Yeah, any bank would probably reduce the penalty. That's true. But no bank.
Not completely, though.
Well, they just say, okay, we'll take the penalty down to the point where you can close the deal. That's it.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and allow the transaction to go through. Okay. So no bank is going to see you get a check for $200,000 and say, oh yeah.
Keep it.
Just keep it. Yeah, fuck no. That's never going to fucking happen. Not fucking never.
Yeah.
Okay. And the final thing she talked about was the 6 months notice on renewals. Well, you get all these calls about renewals all the time, right?
All the time,
And some people are 3 months, some people are 1 month away, hardly anybody's 6 months. But you've also been heard many, many times that people did get a call from the bank
Yeah.
6 months ago, right?
Just today I got one.
Just today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got a call because why? Because the bank wants to try to entice people into taking the renewal. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for her to say that we're going to require the bank to let you know. So let me break down the math on that for a second, how fucked up that is, okay? So you got a 299 rate, and the bank calls you 6 months in advance of your renewal and says, hey, your renewal's coming in 6 months, so your rate now is 299, and at renewal, it's looking like it's probably going to be something like 619. Okay, well, fuck me, that's the shits. Okay,
Yeah.
and we'll let you do an early renewal for 599. What? Like, you want me to pay higher for 6 months when I don't have to?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'll wait and watch, and I'll see what's gonna. Well, it might go up. Well, do you think it's gonna go up? Well, no, not really. It doesn't look like it's gonna go up. Well, then why'd you say it?
Then,
fuck
yeah.
off. Yeah, right. So, hey, Krista Freeland. Meaningless. That's fucking meaningless. So, the great big announcement of the Canadian Mortgage Charter. Bullshit. Okay, like
Bullshit repackaged,
retread, rejigged, some fucking thing, but nothing new, nothing important, nothing meaningful. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
All right, we got the mailbag. Our
We
new
do.
hey guy who does the little things on the that puts the little prompts through on the bottom of the
Our editor,
podcast.
Michael.
Our editor, Michael, put the goddamn mailbag thing in. Okay, all right, put that
Friendly
in now.
reminder, Michael.
Yeah, friendly reminder. Fucking put it in. Okay, like. And also I'm supposed to always remember now because I got shit for it. I said it last week. Hey, fuckers, subscribe! Subscribe, you fuckers! God damn it!
You know you like the show. You might as well subscribe.
Yes! Fuck! Subscribe! I'm angry! Subscribe or you're shit! All right.
I feel bad for the guy who's listening to this with his AirPods.
Yeah, just...
Okay, first one.
All right, this is a mail customer email. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's see what we got.
My renewal is November next year, 2024. What should I do now? I'm worried about a big increase.
All right. Well, it's reasonable to be worried, and it's smart that you're thinking ahead because, look, I would worry too if I was in this situation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's worrisome because rates are going to be up. If you have something from 5 years ago, well, Christ, that rate could be like 199, 269. I mean, it could be a lot less.
Peanuts compared to today.
Whew, yeah. So here's the right approach. Consider paying down the mortgage. Consider making prepayments because, that was another thing Krista Freeland had, that you should allow people to make prepayments. Well, guess what?
They already do.
Every fucking bank's got prepayments. Some of them up to 20%, for Christ's sakes. I mean, you got a mortgage for $400, you get about $80,000. Like, who the fuck's got $80,000?
Yeah.
Okay, honestly. I mean, anyway, another meaningless thing. But because if you talk about a benefit that already exists, it's just bullshit. Okay. All right. So let's think about that. So for the people who've got a renewal coming up mid next year, late next year, first of all, I think that the rate's going to be down. It's not going to be back to 269. Okay. No. But there might be a rate in the 4s available, hopefully.
Fingers
crossed. And also make prepayments if it's possible.
Yeah.
That always helps. And finally, don't go looking for a blended rate now. Don't go looking for a blend now because they always fuck you on a blend. Yeah. It's never a good deal for the consumer. I've never seen a great offer on a blend in my life on an early renewal. Okay. Never seen it. So yeah, just shop hard prior to the November renewals. Shop hard in September.
Call Butler Mortgage.
That's the other thing I keep forgetting. Everybody tells me to keep forgetting it. I never forgot. One guy sent me an email. One guy put a comment on a TikTok and said, "Are you a mortgage broker?" Like, fuck, what the fuck's going on here?
Should I drop the phone number?
Oh my God, no, that's okay. But like, honestly,
that's crazy.
Yes, we're in the mortgage business. Okay, we're in the mortgage business, and
oh my God.
But yeah, shop in September. Don't shop now, and don't take an early renewal. It's stupid.
Wait it out
because you've got 269. If you got 269, just hang in for a while. And the rates may be better, but nobody who has a great rate today should give it up.
Right.
Like, that's the bottom line. Just don't do it.
Ideally.
What else we got? What other we got?
Next, my aunt says since my uncle died, she can't pay the mortgage. She's had a few missed payments. What can she do? She still wants to stay in the house.
All right, that's a tough one because sometimes people think, well, didn't you have the insurance that paid off the mortgage? Well, actually, not many people have that insurance, to be honest with you. And I could do a whole episode on that insurance, but anyway, I won't do it today. So what to say to that? All right, here's the sad truth. If you're falling behind on the mortgage payments, that's serious because, you got property tax, you got utilities, you got everything else. I mean, the reality is, when you're faced, now you could look at a reverse mortgage, but maybe that's not the smartest move. What I typically tell people where one spouse has passed, as much as unless you're in a great financial position, and I mean great, I mean like you're not worried about money at all. Okay. When the spouse has passed, if you have those kind of affordability problems, you're going to have to sell. Like I know for people, because I'm fucking old, so I know old people don't like to do that. We don't like to sell.
We're attached.
We're attached to our place. We like everything to stay the same. That's just. And by the way, there's a lot of studies that show that old people who stay in their homes live a bit longer. Okay.
My neighbor stayed till 96.
Jesus Christ. Well, they take her out in a body bag or something. I mean, sorry, that didn't sound good, but what?
Ronald.
Like what happened there?
Oh my God. It
96.
Just age. Like they had the house for 60 years and he passed at 96.
Years, Jesus. Wow. Well, look, here's the main thing though. Old people hate change, so they want to stay in the house, and it is good to stay in the house. But don't be that afraid of change. Don't be afraid of change where you're going to fall under some horrible pressure that you feel like you're scared and you have anxiety. That doesn't make sense. And guess what? Maybe moving, if you sell the house, you're going to make some money. You're going to have some cash.
You're going to be comfortable.
Could be much better financially, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to consider it because other than a reverse mortgage, there's no good method. Hands
are tied. And think about like the future, right? Like there's going to be a nice family who's going to own that home next. And then, have a life. And it's like, it's only fair that it's our turn, you know?
Yes,
I don't mean I want to kick out people from their homes and stuff, but like,
it's okay.
If you're a single person living in a 3-bedroom home versus a full family living in a 1-bedroom apartment who could use that home.
By the way, that's completely fucking valid thinking. Let me say that. That is completely valid thinking. One of the problems we have in a lot of the big cities in Canada, particularly in Toronto, particularly Vancouver, is we have ancient couples living in 3,000 square foot homes, okay, who are using 4 of the rooms and never use any of the others ever. Yeah. Like they have to hire cleaners to come and dust them because they're so fucking dusty. Rooms, okay?
Yeah.
So, and yes, there is a family of 4. People want to start a family. Give the house up for God's sakes. Now, I get it, you're attached, but like this holding on to houses, there's got to be a way. I mean, and I know people who, when they finally did move to the condo or sell the big house and they got money to buy a small condo or something, or they just decided they got $500,000 in the bank, they're just going to rent a condo. After about 6 months, they didn't mind. It wasn't as much to look after.
It's adjustment.
It's adjustment, yeah. But a lot of them didn't hate it. Okay, so yeah. So no, if you're missing mortgage payments, let me just make this very, very firm statement to everybody out there. If you're missing mortgage payments, well, that means you missed credit card payments, or you missed property tax payments, or you might be missing a few utilities payments. Because if you're missing mortgage payments, it's serious as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't procrastinate. Don't just hope for a miracle. Don't do any of those things. Take action. Don't let somebody else, don't start borrowing more money. Okay. That's maybe not the answer.
You're digging the hole even more.
Yeah. Like the rule 1 of being in a hole, stop fucking digging. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Rule number 1 of being in a hole. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, you may have to move. You probably should move. You should think about it seriously. Don't let it get worse. Okay. That's my message. Okay. All right. That's a good mailbag. So inflation. There was the announcement this week about inflation. CPI came out this week. Inflation down.
Where?
Where the fuck is it down? Okay.
Not in my grocery bill.
Gasoline's down.
Okay, yeah.
Gas is down. Gas is down. Okay.
Small wins.
Small wins. Not the fucking grocery bill though. Like
We'll be optimistic.
Fuck me. Like, I mean, the steak price hasn't come down, I don't think. I mean, I haven't noticed that at all.
No.
The restaurant prices have not come down.
No.
Okay. Not at all. Okay.
No.
You know how you can tell that the economy's bad? I just read a study today. People in Ontario and British Columbia are buying less booze. Less wine, less beer, less everything.
Shit.
Oh, and by the way, I know the first thought went through your mind. Oh, they're just buying more dope. Okay. Wrong. They're buying less weed in the weed store too.
It's probably because they're growing their own. Big brain.
Okay, all right. Or they're buying from the cheap weed guy again,
Yeah,
right?
hey.
The illegal weed guy.
Hey.
If the illegal weed guy is half price, I guess fuck the store,
And it's
right?
tax-free.
Tax-free, half price, buddy. Weed guy, you're back. You know,
He's shopping local. What can you say?
poor old weed guy. He thought he was going out of business. All of a sudden, he's back. He's back. Weed guy is back.
I bet his prices are inflated too, but sure.
Yeah, they're still up, but not as bad as the weed store. But that's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Because people who like their beer, if they're buying less beer, that's a sign, man.
Yeah.
That's a real sign, and they are.
Yeah.
The study, like the beer store is down.
They actually shut down a beer store close to my house to build a condo.
Well, this might be just enriching the guys who owned the land under the beer store, but
Maybe, but it was a really good spot because it was right next to an LCBO, and it was a really big beer store.
Oh yeah, I mean, by the way, it looks like the beer store is dead. Looks
Oh, yeah?
Looks like Ontario. For everybody else in Canada, we have something stupid called a beer store, where you have to go to just.
Oh, yeah,
buy
we're
beer.
the only ones.
We're the only ones in the whole fucking country. But like, they finally introduced, you can have beer in the grocery store now. That was about 3 years. That's been.
Yeah.
And beer and wine in the grocery store, and now it looks like they're shutting. The beer store is going to go. Like they just put beer everywhere. Beer everywhere.
Where do the empties go then?
But that is true. That was the best recycling program probably in North America.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a beer store.
Yeah.
Anyway, gone. Inflation down. Technically down.
Sure.
So what does that mean? If inflation is down, Tiff Macklem had something to say about it. Yes, I had something to say. I did have something to say about the inflation. And this is not my real voice. This fat bastard does this voice, but it is not real. But I will say this. I think the rate hikes are over. But I will still warn you, they maybe go up. It might go up. But really, they're over.
Yeah.
The rate increases are over.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God for everybody with a variable rate mortgage. Thank fucking God. Okay. So, and I'm going to get a lot of email on this. You're wrong. You fat fuck. The fucking rates increase are going to go. It's going to go to 10%. All right. You can think whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's over. Okay. The real question is, when are the cuts? Because once you reach that moment in time when you decide the rate increases are finished, well, the next question is,
when's a cut? Yeah.
I don't know. We got a few people who said it was going to be really soon, going to be like in April. I'm thinking more like the summer or maybe later next year. But yeah, someday the rates come down. Okay.
It's looking good so far.
Well, yeah, I think so. Because look, we keep hearing about all these renewals that are coming in next year and in 2025, and there are a lot of them. And let me say this, tons. Like it's like 55-60% of all renewals are coming up in the next 28 months. Like 60% in 28 months. Fuck, that's a lot.
We're gonna be busy.
Oh, well, there's that. But 6%, that ain't right. You know, if you got to go from 299, 269, 319, 349. 6%, fuck me. That's rough. I know there's a lot of housing bears out there, and I am a housing bear. I wish the prices would come down. And I know that high rates make the house prices come down. We're watching it right now.
Yeah.
House prices in Ontario are coming down. Okay. But I don't want to see people destroyed.
Of course.
Okay. Like it's a strange dichotomy, but that's what it is. I don't want to see everybody destroyed. Well, we're back to our favorite part of the show.
What the actual fuck?
And what the actual fuck today is about all the comments I get on when I say that Airbnb, you're fucked, not in a good way, not good. You're fucked in a bad way. And let's face facts. I would say that there's a certain amount of people in the world, mainly women, but also some men, who would say, yeah, I have been fucked in a bad way. That's true. A very bad way.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, am I lying? Am I lying about this? Okay.
Ron, please, my dad watches the show.
All right. Fine. I'll let it go. I'll drop it. Okay, but look, let me talk about this fucking Airbnb bullshit. Okay. Like when I say it's an illegal hotel room, but remember, I'm not opposed to anybody doing it in their home. You can rent out all the rooms you want in your home. You can rent out your basement, rent out anything to do with your property.
Half your mattress, we don't care.
That's kind of weird. Right? Like, I hope the guy who's renting out the other half of the mattress is at least cute. Okay. Like, I hope that person's cute. That was a meme this week in Ontario. Anyway, yeah, don't fucking rent half a mattress. Okay? But look, rent out any of the rooms in your house, rent out your basement, rent out your garage, rent out whatever the fuck you want. If you're the owner of the house and you're living there, I don't care about that. Do it all you want. That was what it was for in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't care about the cottages. I don't care about the ski chalets. Keep on going. But all you fuckers who own 12 fucking condos and they're all on Airbnb, you're running a fucking hotel. Illegally,
basically,
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to give you the definition. If you've got a great advertised website, which is Airbnb.
Yeah.
If you've got a superb reservation system, which is Airbnb. If you're in tourist locations, which is Airbnb, you're a fucking hotel. Fuck you, okay? And you're not paying the correct property tax. You do not have the correct security. You could have bed bugs up the ass. Nobody is checking you. Nobody's checking those places. Like, it doesn't have the security of a hotel.
Yeah.
But you're running a fucking hotel, okay? Now, I know what I get because I got a billion of these fucking comments, okay? So let me tell you my side of the fucking story, okay? Like, people say, oh, Ron, you're a fucking communist. You're all fucking communists. No, that's what I get. You're all communists. You're against property rights. Property rights are a sacred tenet of our democracy. You must have property rights. They're a key to our whole... Fuck you all.
It's
okay?
a fucking housing crisis. Okay?
Abso-fucking-lutely. And I'm going to take it a few steps fucking farther. Okay? Property rights don't mean you can buy a house and open a fucking crematorium in it. Okay? Yeah. They do not mean that. They do not mean that you can buy a condo and open a bordello in the condo. Okay? That's still against the law. All right? Does not mean you can buy a condo and start to run a fitness center out of it so the fucking Peloton music is running 24 hours a fucking day, okay? And there's people coming, and the shower's running 24/7, and the fucking people are walking by, and people are coming up in the fucking elevators with their fucking, or better yet, they're using the fitness center in the fucking condo building on a commercial basis, stealing from the fucking condo building, and fuck off.
It's a nuisance.
There's zoning in Canada, for fuck's sakes. There is zoning, okay? Yeah. If you want to, just like your party house, some people are running those places like rooming houses, okay? Yeah. Some people are taking a house, chopping it up. There's all kinds of suites. There's all kinds of little rooms. There's locks on the rooms. You're running a fucking rooming house through Airbnb. Yeah. And guess what? You need a fucking license for a goddamn rooming house, okay? A serious license with serious checks, okay? Every fucking municipality in this country. Okay, so fuck off on your property rights. All you property rights people who call me a communist, fuck thyself. Okay, this is all wrong. Everybody understands zoning. We've had zoning in Canada in one form or another for about 100 years. Yeah. Okay. Either way, I'm not preaching NIMBY. If we zone a single family home on a big lot and we rezone it and say you can put a fourplex in it, triplex, whatever. All good with me. I'm in favor. But don't pretend fucking hotels at Airbnb are property rights. They're not. Nobody had a fucking right to buy 12 condos, or better yet, how about these fucking operators who they do long-term leases on condos, and then they turn them into Airbnbs, okay? So they were pretending to be a long-term tenant, or maybe the landlord knew, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But they're just leveraging to make money.
So messy.
You want to fucking whine about property rights? Fuck you. Fuck your property rights. It's a fucking hotel, and whatever happens to you, you deserve. End of fucking story. All right. Damn. The Airbnb rant is over, but fuck y'all.
Fuck y'all.
See you next week.
Yeah.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.